comrades, come! Rally to our flag. The hated ministers of destruction are upon us. We must stop them. We must annihilate them. We must prevail.
It's MWL League Radio with DJ Exalt Angel. Welcome to tonight's matchup.
It's Brawler Ladder action. Now we got two top-of-the-line teams coming at you tonight. MOD, the Ministry of Destruction, going up against the Russian Death Legion, RDL. Now we got a special surprise for you guys right now, because Adler actually is going to be helping me out here because of my little sickness, so you guys don't hear me cough. So Adler, if you just want to run them through on the MOD teams, what they got for mechs, or well, not really mechs, but what they're pretty much teamed up as and who they are, I'm just going to get a drink.
Who they are? I have no idea who they are. A bunch of guys with a bunch of weird leet spelling of their names at this juncture. Folks, hi, it is DJ Adler, and we welcome you here on a Friday evening to MWL Radio. The Death Legion boys are up at dark 30 in the morning for themselves. It's got to be very early in Russia, wherever they are. I think Russia probably spans about, what, 6 time zones or some doggone thing. And the MOD boys are all here. It looks like we have just dropped one person as they put up the exact map. Dragon's Head is the first drop here for some brawler action. And so they haven't done their ping test or anything as yet, Angel. So you go ahead and get yourself something to drink, because we do not allow sober shoutcasters to grace the halls of MWL booth. That being said, I do not like this chair. Typically, my chair is quite comfortable in the Eagle's Nest studios, and to make the effort all the way over to MWL studios, I was able to procure a ride with Sonics, who still is running that little bicycle thing that he does on the weekends to pick up some spare change, you know, for folks in the park. So he tootled me over here, and trying to get this thing all set. Well, we'll see. It kind of brings back a little nostalgia, because when old Sonics and I first started out, we were here in MWL studios, but good fortune, good winds, and we got to move on up to the Eagle's Nest studios, Angel, high atop Mount Schweinhund, located in the Hogsback Mountains, not too far away from DZ1, if you're familiar with that map. Anyway, they are still jockeying for position, Angel, for ping drop, but everyone is here. It looks like it's going to be 6v6 at this juncture.
Yeah, that it does, Adler. It does look like 6v6, standard for the Brawler, I believe, or is it actually 5v5, but they're going to go with the 6. Also, first map that we're probably going to be dropping on is Dragon's Head. After that, the KNT Octagon 2, and then Toxic Spires will be the third map for the tiebreaker, I believe. Back to you, Adler.
Yeah, you know, I have to confess, being the flag guy that I am, I don't know these maps except Octagon. I have no idea. Dragon's Head looks like a kind of a wide open thing. The heat index is not significant. That Toxic one, I just don't know that much about the maps. Do you?
I know a little bit of Dragon's Head. If they're going to play brawling, they want to take spawns 5 and 6, where you start off 200 meters from the enemy spawn. Now, everybody knows that the rules for the Brawler is no weapons over the selected limit of range. So the selected range for tonight, 500 meters per weapon. There is no weapon allowed to go over that range. Also, the radar is team radar only. So if they decide to span out these spawns, they can turn it into a interesting match for the first one, where the map is actually thousands of meters from each other for the drop zones. Also, you know KNT Octagon 2, don't you, Adler? Because I know nothing about that map. Can you, like, inform the viewers on what that map is?
It's an octagon. What else do you need to say? That means it has 8 sides. Or is it 6 sides? No, it's 8 sides.
Oh, I don't know, Adler. That's why I'm asking you.
And you want expertise in Brawler? Then get someone out of the Brawler ladder to come join us in the booth to give us a hand. I don't profess to be an expert in Brawler. I like Brawler. I enjoy playing Brawler. But as far as all the maps and all the subtleties of it, I'm a little bit at a loss, Angel.
Well, I've been getting requests here from RDL that they want us, after the match, to spin them up the video and ship it to them so they can probably translate it for Here They Go.
The Russian Death Legion, a team not known by too many people, but a few of us know them. They currently are holding down the 12th spot here on the Brawler ladder, and they are being challenged by MOD, Ministry of Destruction. Ministry of Destruction has a 2-1 record going into this beauty, whereas Death Legion is an 8-6. So as a percentage, it's probably a wash. They're both pretty much the same. It is the battle for 12th spot on the Brawler ladder, which is currently being dominated totally by expertise. They're 16-0, followed fairly closely by War. War has got a lot of seasoned guys. Everybody knows who War is. Airman Corps, of course, still way up there. They're 16-7. Then you've got Dark Rift playing 500 ball at about 50, 54, something like that. The Knights, been around forever. They're 49-34 with a real nice record. Renegade Knights, this isn't necessarily their best ladder. 39-44 and holding down the 6th spot. BDE at 25-6, not the best for them. We also have Hey Jeff, kind of a new unit. Hey Jeff is 9-4 and moving up, absolutely. Sin is on this ladder too, folks, and they are 34-26, currently in 9th place. And to round out the top 10, the Free Will Crusaders at exactly 500 ball at 11-11. What's going on in the ping drop, Angel?
Yeah, it's like watching Little Adler run down the road with the flag on his back.
What's that? Little Adler?
Just get lagged.
What kind of crap talk is that? I don't run. What's that? What are you talking about?
We all know your dirty secret, Adler. We know you like to run that flag.
Well, I will say this, Sonny. A long time ago, I did run. Way back in MechWarrior 4, even pre-Black Knight days, and on the MSN zone, and the only decent mechs to run in were OCs, Cougars, and Ravens. And I did run, and I enjoyed it. But you weren't up against uber killing mechs in those days. The Loki was pretty nasty in those days as a hunter chaser, but the Daiichi, little long tom action, Atlas, mechs like that, but there just was not, the ability to put together a 120 alpha death machine sitting on top of the flag. Not in those days, anyway.
Well, anyways, I'll give you the rundown of who's in the server here. We got Titan with MOD, Maverick, who happens to be from Australia, who's with MOD, Charisma Knight, MOD as well, Wingo, yes, the Gundam pilot from MOD. After that, we got Rain, unit founder of MOD. Now, Adler, about Rain, I used to play with her back in USA, and I have to say, she is one of the best brawlers you'll ever meet if you're on Arena Egypt and she's in that Warlord of hers. Now, if we keep going down the list, we got the two DJs, me and you, and then we go to the RDL, some of the RDL guys. We got Gaff, Kair, Rolo, Adam FMR, we got Fever X, Draxel with MOD, and we got Razor with RDL. Now those are the rundowns of both the teams of who's there and who's on what. Now RDL has chosen Spawn 3, which I believe is in your upper right corner if you're looking at the map from up above. Now we just need to see what MOD's counter is going to be, and they take Spawn 2, which is in the middle of the upper map. Now this is going to look to be interesting because I'm seeing a bunch of Clan and IS Assault mechs being chosen. Even some heavies, which you do know. They're more maneuverable than the assaults and can get off less firepower, but their speed will be a small advantage to them against these slow-moving assaults. Adler, any thoughts on the Spawn choices?
I'd like to submit to you who are a non-McRugby player, how much Brawler and McRugby are kissing cousins. When you're on a McRugby map and the teams are very close together, I suppose it's kind of similar in CTF as well, but when the DZs are close together, you don't need missiles, you don't need long range, ERs. You're going to get all up in their face. Now, of course, in Brawler itself, by definition, it's supposed to be all up in your face, but there's been some arguing over the years about this mech and that mech, or this weapon and that weapon, shouldn't be allowed and all that stuff. As it happens, because it's going to be very fast, and a lot of furballs going on out there. Back to you.
Also, Adler, from my experience in brawling, a lot of people tend to take for clan mechs the War Thug for its ability to move fast and the Gargoyle. But note, the Gargoyle does get knocked over easily. So I won't be surprised if we see a couple of Daishies in here, or maybe even some of those Battlemaster 2Cs. But the Inner Sphere mechs, I'm probably thinking Talos for the amount of weapons they can hold that are ballistic.
Yeah.
And for Clan Heavy, the Clan Heavy, it can be just about anything. A Cauldron Born would be specifically good for here, or even a Loki where they can both mount 2 LBX-20s on there.
Yeah, that's true. You can actually, well, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, but you can get, if you slow the Loki down and do some electronic stripping, you can get 2 20s and a 10 on it, but I don't know at what cost to your armor and speed that would take. So you can also do something like that with a Templar, and in fact you can go 2 20s and 2 10s on a Templar and have a nice time out there.
Well, the King Brawler I like to run, personally, is the Gargoyle with an advanced gyro, 2 LBX-20s and 2 10s with 2 heavy medium lasers. That packs one hell of a punch.
You can still do that? Did I hear you right?
Yeah, you can still do that. LBX-20s in the arm, 2 10s in the torso with 2 heavy large lasers in the torsos.
Wow. What does it run at? 85?
Runs about 65 to 70, I believe.
Okay. And you can sneak gyro in on it. Well, that's a pretty nasty mech.
It is, but we got to remember here, in this match here, we can be seeing this Daishi maybe a lot, where you can fit a couple 10s and 20s on that thing with like no speed whatsoever. But it does die fairly fast if you shoot it in the legs.
Well, we're not going to need a lot of speed because the DZs are so close together. So they are just about ready to go. You run down the action. Any predictions?
Well, I was talking with a couple of the MOD pilots beforehand. They think they're going to have a rough time maybe squeaking out a win. They said it's a possibility that they may not win, but it's a possibility that they do. Now, I tried to get some to go for an interview before the match to see what their thoughts on the upcoming drop were, but they said they're all radio shy, so they didn't want to. But they believe it's going to be one hard-fought match. It's going to be a teeth grinder.
Confirmed. X-Ray Zulu going in fast and hard.
Alright, well, the go has been called, and we have dropped. I'm looking at Titan and an Annihilator. Looks like he's tuning up to... he's probably just loaded to the teeth with ballistic, wouldn't you guess?
Yeah, I see also here I got Maverick on my... I'm on Maverick's back right now, and he is in a glad bag. I'm also seeing a Highlander, a Marauder 2, that Annihilator, a Cauldron Born, like I just stated, and another Highlander, I believe. 2 Highlanders. What do we got on the RDL side?
Well, I got Razors in a Supernova. Looks like Gaff is in a Fat Boy, the old tried and true land pig. I've got Kyer, he's in a Battlemaster. Rolo is also in a land pig. Adam, I think that's a Wildcat. Why don't you double check and confirm with me on that one? I'll go on. Looks like Fiverr is in another Fat Boy. So they are loaded. They got a lot of power over there. I'm not sure about the Supernova. I don't know about that, but can you confirm that mech? Oh, Crimson Knights and a Cauldron Born. Did you say that? I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, Chrisman Knight, like I said, it was either going to be a Loki or a Cauldronborn. But yes, we do have a Wildcat that Adam is in.
Okay.
Very unorthodox mech, but I can see for one idea why. He took jump jets. And the fun's just beginning here. I see the land pigs, one of them's just walked up the hill, and one of the MOD guys got plastered with some shots. I believe it was the Cauldronborn. Now the action's just unloaded. Now, that supernova, I see, which just overheated, is actually heavy large lasers and a lot of them. And Chrisman Knight is down. He should have just stepped back a little bit before going. The jump jets are becoming the advantage here on the other team. How about some action over there, Adler?
Yeah, so far, I gotta tell you, when I go do Brawler, I don't expect to see pop sniping. I think it is you know, inconsistent with the spirit of what Brawler's supposed to be, but that's just me. Anyway, the score right now with 12 minutes left, folks, is 9:46 for the Russian Death Legion, and the MOD boys at 6:58. It's still anybody's game. There's only been one kill on each team recorded so far. And a little bit of negative scoring as the players are bumping into each other and doing pop sniping. Not to my liking, actually, but it is what it is. Hopefully they'll smell the coffee on the second half of this drop and get up there and do the proper thing and start blowing the hell out of each other. The score continues to favor the Russian Death Legion, and we'll shoot it back to Exiled Angel.
Alright, let me recap you on that kill there. The Titan killed RDL Razor. I believe Titan is packing a lot of Ultra AC-10s on that mech. Because, I mean, you can just see the amount of shot coming from him. It's starting to really turn, and Adam just killed the Draxel, which is on his own team. And Wingo just destroyed RDL Kaiser, so I believe that puts MOD in the front. No, it does not. They're still behind. And Chrisman Knight is down again. But we still got some bumping in here going. And Rain, as I said, good at brawling, just takes out Rolo with one hell of a shot. If you look at the map and find Rain, you will see she has not been hit yet, but standing and moving and jumping. They're using both those Highlanders to confuse because they're both jump jetting and one jump jets after the other. And Rain is just getting off some serious shots from here. But what's happening now is the MOD pilots are catching the RDL guys when they spawn. Not a bad tactic, but Titan goes down after taking a severe beating. I also noticed that Chrisman Knight in that bushwhacker of his is actually supporting some missiles, MRMs to be exact, 500-meter range. So he's probably got an LBX and a couple 10s, or just all missiles. What action are you viewing right now, Adler?
Well, you got my attention when you said Crimson Knight is in a bushwhacker, and I thought you said he was in a Cauldronborn. So I just came back to take another look, and yes, indeed, you were right the first time. It is a Cauldronborn, and he's getting his butt kicked. He's been killed. He's been killed too much. He's died 3 times. That's more than almost everybody else put together on his team. I don't know what kind of armor he put on that thing, but he's getting whacked. The score continues to favor the Russians. They are just under 6,000 points, with MOD at just under 5,000 points. It's anybody's game here. We are halfway through it. 8 minutes and 32 seconds to go, and we are on Dragon's Head map. Kind of looks like kind of reminds me of the old Equinox. It's just as ugly, just as boring, kind of sloping, snowy mountains, a tree here and there. Not a real exciting map by my view. Back to you.
Well, right now I'm on Titan's back, and as you know, Titan and Wingo are carrying MOD in points right now. Now, Titan, which is in the Annihilator, which I believe to be one of the best choices, also has lambs on his battle mech. For some reason, I see that because one guy's shooting missiles at him, and they're just being destroyed in the air. Now, right now, I notice what that Cauldron-born does. When he runs up to them, he becomes a distraction, and they start jump jetting to go after Chrisman Knight, which puts their entire team in the open. Now, if you notice, there's a land pig that is following him, but is now lagged and now destroyed. That would be Rolo. So, Chrisman Knight also just took out Adam. He just took out the Heavy clan. And Wingo just took out Gaff as well, and Rain took out Razor. Now, MOD is really starting to mop up here, where they just took the lead, and they're now leading 8,900 points to 7,700 points. But you got to remember, Adler, with the assault mechs, it's better to strip than go straight for the kill, because with the kill, you're not getting that many points. So this lighter mech, they're not going to get many points for the kill on it. But that light mech will rack up the points when it kills. What about on the RDL side? What do you got for me there?
Well, I've been watching Wing. Wing's having himself a heck of a game. He's leading the scoring for the MOD boys, and just as I say that, it's a kiss of death, and he gets spanked by Gap. So much for that. The score now swings back in favor of the Russians. The Russians are ahead 10,283 to 9,511. We've got 6 minutes left. Pretty exciting stuff. The leading scorer right now for the Russians is Rolo, and Rolo is in, like so many of the rest of them, another land pig. I'm looking at him very closely. He is burnt to a crisp all over his torso, but he's still pumping out. I think, take a look at him. I think he's got ultra cannons. I think I'm hearing a pulsing bam bam coming out of his mech. You take a look. I find those weapons to be very difficult to control, trying to shoot little mechs with. I guess you're alright hitting the big mech. You keep the cursor on the target. But Rolo's having himself a fine game, leading the Russians with 2,600 points. But they are tied. Exiled Angel, they are tied in kills, 14 apiece, and they are almost tied in the score. It's just a spit as it vacillates back and forth and back and forth. This is still anybody's game. Folks, we appreciate you tuning in. This is MWL Radio. I'm DJ Adler along with Exiled Angel, showing me how to do it the right way. And we're here on Dragon's Head in a little brawler action. Back to you, Angel.
Well, what just happened here is Gaff left the game, apparently, and rejoined the game. Now, I do not know if you can actually do that in a game, but we'll have to check the rules on that in between the game, because he just left and then came back out. But just as you were talking, MOD took the lead, and they're no longer ahead. They were ahead by 100 points, but now it's in favor of RDL, which is now leading 13,000 to 12,000. MOD is close behind, but those, as you like to call them, vulture cannons, they're, yes, he is using them, but he's using the 10s, I believe. They are easier to hit the assaults with, but on the lighter ones, they're pretty hard to hit. But looking at Chrisman Knight, he's not moving that fast, so something tells me he's packing a lot of armor and a big punch. Now, we haven't, that mad Marauder has not been doing much lately. Draxel, who has only got 800 points in that Marauder too, is very vulnerable to his top, because basically the main weapon on the Marauder is the top. But I noticed he's packing a lot of lasers. And Titan just took out Adam, which was jump jetting apparently towards him. So Gaff has left the game again to see what we gotta find out what is going on and if that is legal, because right now that is putting them at a disadvantage, and then he rejoins.
Well,
just as I'm saying that,
it creates join lag, I'll tell you that. It's not against the rules, it happens. The only rule is he has to come back with the exact same mech.
I see that. I stand corrected. Now, over to Maverick here, who I believe is actually a good pilot when it comes to the glad bag. Should actually be doing fairly well with it, because everybody knows a brawling glad bag is good. But Wingo seems to be stealing the show for MOD with 7 kills and 2 deaths, racking up 3,600 points and leading this entire match. And correct me if I'm wrong, Adler, but the way it looks, the spawn that RDL chose is at the bottom of a hill. And MOD is taking full advantage of that by getting on top of the hill around their spawn.
Yeah, like I say, I don't know if that works in your favor or not. Generally, in military, the higher elevation has the advantage shooting down on the enemy. But with pop sniping being what it is, I don't know. Then you also have the limitations of torsos being able to move Wayne up and down. But we're coming down to the final 2 minutes, folks. The score, 16, make it 17,000 for the Russians, and MOD at 16-2. It's anybody's game. I'm on the back of Fiverr. Fiverr is in a fat boy. Fiverr is shooting and he's smoking and he's snarling. He is leading the Russians in scoring. Now he's blowing a little coolant out his behind. What? And my wife just walked by and said, "What the hell is that?" he just said. Anyway, as I'm flapping, looks like Crimson Knight got a kill. He just knocked off the Wildcat that Adam was running. While that's going on, Gaff knocked off Titan, so that was a good kill. Now Razor takes out Wing Zero. The Russians continue to push the advantage, and they have a nearly 2,000 point lead. Angel, back to you. 1 minute left.
Well, right now I am on the back of Wingo, who is joining back into the fight because it was taken out. But we had a mishap here. Kaiser took out Razor. Now that rhymes, and they just lost. They gained no points from that, so that might give MOD the chance they need to climb back up. But as it's looking right now, the Russian Death Legion is pulling away from MOD. Now I'm looking here right now, those fat boys all seem to be using something different. One of them's got lasers, one of them's got Ultra ACs, one of them's got light machine guns or machine guns on them, I can't tell. But also, Wingo is still leading by far this match in points for MOD with 4,200. Now MOD needs to do some catching up here. And I was also on Kaiser, who's in the Battlemaster 2C. He is pumping out, I believe, a lot of LBX fire. And MOD now is getting their own tactics used against them, where they're all at the bottom of a hill, and they just ran the hill. And looks like this goes to the Russians for the first map. Adler, your thoughts on the first drop?
Well, the final score, let's give it to the listeners. You got 20,474 for the Russians, 18,047. Total kills favors the Russians, 27 to 22. We've got 27 kills and 27 deaths, matching up exactly. I always look at this. The Russians had 2 suicides, though, or team kills, as they have 24 deaths against 22 registered kills by the MOD boys. So on we go. Another little 15-minute drop. We got a little bit of time out here.
You're listening to an MWL radio exclusive. What the hell's that mean?
Lay it down or smack 'em, yak 'em. Cole got to be. You.
Jeez. Well, Sylvester, here we are, back in civilization. This looks like a perfectly splendid place to spend the night, doesn't it, Sylvester? It's so quaint and picturesque.
Are you a tech for a temperamental mech warrior who demands the best? Are you tired of being yelled at to buy quality replacement parts and then getting yelled at for spending too many C-bills? You need to come down to Angus's Parts Palace. We specialise in putting the labels from the highest quality brands of replacement parts onto the cheapest pieces of junk that we can get our hands on. That's right, your boss won't know the difference, and the price is always right. We're in the Black Hills on Commonwealth, on the banks of the beautiful Solaris River. Come to Angus's Parts Palace and never get yelled at again.
Welcome, warriors, to the MWL League.
But right now, as we see, the next map is Octagon, which you're right. It's 8-sided. And it is going to be a fun drop indeed. I believe I've actually heard of this map. There should be giant pillars in the middle of the map, which is going to stop each other from spawn raping each other from far, with MOD and Spawn 2. Now, this might shape up to be a better chance for MOD on this one. It's just RDL took the initiative on the first map. MOD's got to be able to take the initiative on the second map.
Well, they're going to be all up in each other's face, that's for sure. There ain't going to be any pup sniping going on here. They're going to get right up and blow the heck out of each other. We're talking about splash damage, furballs, all kinds of stuff. It might be interesting to see if you could get some kind of a, I don't know, a Ryo maybe, with a bunch of lasers. Of course, shorter range, but... and stay off and hit mechs at distance, and then hide behind something real quick, and pick up some points because of the chassis points. Whereas the rest of the big boy, they're just going to have to be just in each other's face on this map, no doubt about it.
Just a reminder to the folks listening, this match is no radar, but team radar only. So they can't see how damaged the other person is. They gotta be going by which spot's blacker to shoot at. So this has become an all instinct, and by the look of the instinct, RDL's got that instinct down packed, because watching MOD earlier, one spot was black, they aimed for that spot there. It didn't matter where it was on the mech, that spot was getting hit. Now I also noticed with MOD is they were running close together, as where RDL was running more spanned out. Where what happens when spanned out, if they destroy one, that means they have to move into the range of the next one, which they can set up appropriately for the next one to be able to pop up or walk over the hill and destroy them. Whereas MOD was all clustered together, they just had to circle around them and they could just pick them off as they please, because splash damage, if you destroy a mech and they splash another mech, counts towards points that your team earns. Now, I've received an email last night, and I was told I need to air it on tonight's show, because it's a brawler match. The email stated, does flush coolant consider itself a weapon in Brawling Ladder League? Now, I'm thinking, flush coolant, isn't that the little green stuff that comes out of your mech when you get too hot? Now, how would that be a weapon? Adler, do you know?
No, that almost sounds silly.
Well, to be honest, the questions sound German to me.
Oh! Well, I'm sure our friends in Zafazerland will take issue with you for saying that.
Well, if they want, I can say it in French, too. So then, there'll be no confusion.
Well, flushing coolant aside, looks like the boys are just about ready to go here, folks. We're moving on to the Octagon map, which, as you probably know, is a very tight little pit surrounded by walls, and there is not a whole lot of maneuvering opportunity other than just see mech, get near mech, blow up mech. That's it. Nonetheless, as you were saying, good teamwork can overcome a lot. Now, the RDL boys, surprisingly, lost Gaff over and over again. I don't know, what did he disconnect? 3 times in that thing, and they still won. So hats off to them for that, huh, Angel?
Well, right now, I'm thinking here, I don't do that often because it does hurt sometimes, but I'm looking clan mech, clan, IS, assault. Those are all assault mechs there, and more assault. Now, as you were saying, there is a clan medium mech selected here by RDL. Now, I do not know what it will be, but Adam is in the medium mech. Now, possibly, I'm thinking here, it could be the Black Lantern. because in 3v3, the popular medium mech there is a 9-streak 4 missile boat, which can knock down anything that is under 70 tons. But it is a major point getter with weak armor. Adler, your thoughts on what the medium mech could have been earlier? You were saying a Ryo with a bunch of lasers. Now that wouldn't work too well because it has to come into range and it would suffer great damage, but the other assault mechs can cover this Black Lantern when it's in the thick of it, because remember, there is those pillars, I believe, in the middle of the map.
Well, the Ryo's got jump jets. It's possible you could still protect it, but that said, Adam is the fellow that had the Wildcat. He just may have turned around and put jump right back in that same thing.
It doesn't look like it because he's checked in, ready to go. And if I remember well, before the MOD went into the locker room, I looked up, because I interviewed a couple of their players beforehand. There's a sign above their locker room, and it says, needs guts to be in this ladder. Which is true. To be in the Brawler ladder, you need guts. But the security to try to get over to interview the Russians was extremely hard. Alright, Adler, as it looks like, we have a Kodiak on the outside of the map, which I didn't know this before, but there is Kodiaks on the outside of the map, which I am trying to get to our friends here, which are on the map. Alright, we have a Land Pig, a Masakari, a Highlander, a Supernova, a Marauder 2, and another Highlander. And there has been some shots that were fired before the go has been called. So Wingo is calling for a redrop. What does RDL have before they redrop this?
Too late. I don't know how they got their confusion, but you know, there was MOD ready, and then somebody said something, and then next thing you know, Gaff took a shot, and then MOD said, "Hey, what the hell?" So they're just going to redrop. I think I saw a Fafnir floating around in there.
Looks to me like there was
we'll get right
bit
on
of an
it.
itchy trigger finger right there.
Exactly. We'll get right on it though. Oh, and now Kyer disconnects. So we're going to wait a moment. Well, so it goes. So it goes.
Actually, I would be surprised to actually see a Fafnir in there, because if there's a Fafnir, the only main thing a Fafnir's got going for him is the fact that it's got 2 4 ballistic slots in its torsos, but those are meant to carry heavy Gauss rifles. Now, what he's going to put in there will be a shock to me. Do you have any ideas what it could be, Adler?
I'm going to take a look at that. As it turns out, we've got a minute to spare because of the well, he could put let's see, what could he do? He could put, you know, he could put 2 heavy Gauss. He could put well, I don't know, because it's most of its energy. He could put 2 heavy Gauss in the torsos. That's nice. But after that, you know, I don't know, maybe a bunch of heavy mediums. There's no ballistics. There isn't missile slots on the damn thing. It's pretty much energy below and ballistics above, huh?
Yeah, and as we know, it can't be 600-meter range, so it will not be the heavy Gauss rifles. It's going to be 500-meter range weapons.
Well, maybe he could put in 4 LBX-10s. Maybe that's what he's going to do.
That would look like a hard variant to hit right there. Well, or actually a hard hitter up close. But what does it have for arm slots? Does it have 3 laser arm slots or 4?
No, I moved away from it. I already came back out. I don't remember. Kyer has just reconnected. They're gonna launch here in just a second. We'll just have to anticipate and look forward to seeing what it's gonna be. But you don't see the great big aircraft carriers. You don't see it used much. But I could see, you know, somebody coming up with an Annihilator and somebody lumbering up there with a Fafnir. That'd be kind of fun to see those 2 slug it out. Maybe a Behemoth, you know.
Yeah, you don't see the aircraft carrier much. as we used to call it, the flat mech, because you could probably land anything on top of it. But as it looks, Kyr has disconnected again and may be having some connection issues. But you gotta remember, most of them are in Russia, I believe, so they would probably have a couple of difficulties connecting to servers out here.
It wouldn't be the map, Rain. It's going to be just a connection thing. Now they're saying he hits.
How about Adler? I have an idea right now. How about we, while we're waiting, go to a commercial and get something to drink?
Okay. You got a commercial?
Unfortunately, I do not. I was hoping you would, so I could go get my drink.
Oh, I see. I'll just turn the music up a little bit and go get my beverage, too. Folks, once again, thanks a lot for tuning in. It's MWL Radio with Exiled Angel and Old Ad. And we're bringing you some brawler action here on a Friday evening. And we'll be right back. Okay, let's bring that down a little bit, folks. We're back. Angel, are you with me?
I'm with you, and MOD and RDL are ready to go. Also, I gotta announce to the population, rain just broke a nail, so that could turn bad for MOD. Also, I want to remind the public that might be listening at the moment that after tonight's matchup, I'm gonna invite a couple of the MOD pilots up here to the booth, where we can interview them about the game, and right after the interview, I will be hosting up Exiled Angel's Underground Garage, where you can come and request the music you want to hear. Now let's see if we can get what mechs RDL is piloting. Adler? Alright, we got a couple of land pigs up on the RDL side, and a Shadow Hawk, I believe, or, nope, Shadow Cats. And we got 4 land pigs, a Fafnir, I think. Yep, a Fafnir, you were correct. 4 land pigs. And a Shadow Cat for the RDL boys. Now, it's just unlimited shooting from both sides right now. They are shooting and shooting from their spawns. Lots of autocannon fire, and Gaff just took out Charisma Knight. And they just take a quick initiative and lead. But MOD is starting to catch back up, where Rain has successfully killed Adam, who was in that lighter mech. And Draxil takes out Kaiser. And somebody just blew up beside Draxil because he overheated. Just something blew up. Gaff took out Maverick, and Razor took out Titan. Before Draxil's running around in that Marauder 2 of his, lagged. But I figured out what that little mech is for. He's in there running around with artillery beacons and just causing a lot of destruction on the Rain guys. On Rain and the crew. Now, Adler, what do we got coming from the RDL section right now?
Well, I've been fascinated with the aircraft carrier. Razor is running some energy as we expected. I think they are heavy large lasers. He's also running some kind of a ballistic fire, so that's got to be those very possibly the LBX-10 series I was thinking about. Maybe get 4 of them on there depending on what he does. He's had a pretty good round so far. He's got 1 kill, 1,200 points. The current score is favoring the Russians, but not by much. We are just getting started here, folks. 12 minutes and 20 seconds left in this beauty. And the score is 6,000 and change for both teams. Very close, not worth getting into too much. But Razor is both the target of a lot of fire and also the deliverer of a lot of fire. So he's kind of the cornerstone of the action. But I am fascinated with what you said a minute ago. regarding the little shadow cat that's running around, dropping arties. That's a nice little technique. Who's doing that?
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing, because I think he's looking for the mechs that are lagged to drop them. And just as we're talking, the RDL guys are starting to fill up the board with kills, as they're leading with almost 10,000 points to 7,000 for MOD. And Draxel, surprisingly, missing both arms, a leg, and his main gun, is still moving forward after that. And there, I believe he goes now, and there he went. Took a while, but he went down. Now, but Razor is looking like he has LBX on that Fafnir, and it is moving at a fairly good speed. What about that? Those 4 land pigs? What do they got on them, Adler? Can you tell?
I'll switch over there to that second. I'm still taking a long look at the Shadow Cat. Adam, you know, one of the things I'm not real wild about what he's doing. Yes, he gets into their rear guard. Yes, he's harassing them, but he keeps jumping up in the air. He jumps up, and it slows him down. It's just like it makes himself the easiest target in the world when he does that. I mean, yeah, all right, so you're in their rear guard and you're trying to do a DFA or whatever, fine, but get over there before you jump up in the air, because when you jump up in the air, you really slow down your velocity, and you're an easy shot. My God, these land pigs are ripping him to pieces. Now he's got some heaters too. I just saw him, I think he just threw out a plasma cannon shot, and leg Titan. I'm not sure exactly if that was Titan. Let me just spin around here, take another look. I think it was. And so as he died, he let go with the plasma cannon and ripped up Titan's leg. Yeah, and legged him good. So that was fine. But this jumping crap, you know, everybody keeps saying pull, thank you, bang, dead. Anyway, the score again continues to favor, and now it's pulling away. The Russians have got a 4,000 point lead. 9 minutes to go. We're a little over we're not quite halfway through this beauty, Angel, and the Russians are taking it to them again without too much analysis. What do you think is what are they doing that's working for them so well?
Well, what I believe is getting them a lot of points is the 4 land pigs all have clan machine guns on them, I believe. All of them. ER large lasers and machine guns. Now, the rate the machine guns are firing, they're getting points. But what I think MOD is doing wrong is they're aiming for legs, where the land pigs are aiming for torsos, more points to be gained. But it is turning out to be a close one, because MOD is now catching up to the RDL guys, but we have 8 minutes left to go in this game, and it could shape up to be another nail-biter like the last one. But as it's looking, 5,000 points ahead is RDL, and I've seen that change in less than a minute. So we'll have to see what time brings us, Adler. Yeah. Also, what I've noticed is you got a land pig, look at this, land pig sitting back, along with the Fafnir, which you got 3 land pigs, making a mix of it in those pylon things, whatever you want to call them. But I believe I see a mech on MOD that is using artillery strikes. Can you confirm that one, Adler?
No, I don't. Are you sure they're not long toms?
Long toms have a 2,000 meter range, so I doubt they would be.
Well, then I don't know, because artillery strikes, I don't know. Hard to analyze all of that. The score, though, with 7 minutes left, continues to favor the Russians, 27,000 to 20,000 for MOD. I'm on the back of Titan. He is lumbering along in his land pig. Now I'm going to switch around. Now on the back of Maverick. Maverick's in a supernova, and he's pumping out X-Pulse. And the Shadow Cat just jumped out of bounds up and over the back of the arena, really. Now he's walking along on top of the arena. That's Adam, and he's destined to die. But you're right. There is definitely arties are definitely coming down over here on the MOD side. I can see they're just terrific damage, mostly to the legs, as you said, to the MOD boys. And they are falling behind. Now the score is 33,000 for the Russians to 22,000 for MOD with 6 minutes left. MOD needs to absolutely change course, start up something fresh, and go after them. I got Crimson Knight here in the Masakari firing missiles, and they're getting picked off by the stationary columns. He's making a little bit of headway, but not much. They just almost need to do a noob rush. What do you think?
Well, I think what they need to do is get away from those pillars and in the other spawn, because they're too clustered together by those pillars, which is giving the rest of the arena that is small to RDL to use. Now that's not a good thing, because if you notice, you got 3 land pigs rushing towards on all 3 fronts, the left, the right, and the center. Now they can't do much about that because they're all clustered together and losing arms, torsos, weapons, but Maverick, as you said, is cleaning up house with all those missiles. Because he just took out Draxel, which happens to be on his own team, and Adam. But I believe it was from the splash of destroying Adam. Now I'm looking around trying to see what other mechs there are being used, and I noticed Wingo is in the same variant of that, I believe, Highlander that he was in the first map. Hard hitter, but I don't think it's given him much to use in this one here, where Crimson Knight is stealing the show for MOD. But look at the points for Rollo, and I believe he is in that aircraft carrier, you like to call it. 13 kills right now, and the score is 47 deaths. Well, now 48 deaths for RDL, 49 kills. 49 deaths on MOD and 46 kills. But it is, as it looks, a projected victory for RDL, where they are now leading by almost 15,000 points or more, I believe. Adler, your analysis on it?
Well, actually, my MVP vote is going to go to Adam. I've been critical of him jumping up in the air all the time, but he is absolutely causing them all kinds of trouble. The MOD boys are just everybody. When he gets over on their side, they've got to address him. They've got to hit him and kill him, because he lobs those arty strikes in there at distance and gives their big mechs. They have no defense against that. They sure as hell can't get out of the way. They're too slow. And then he gets in close, and then he runs those plasma cannons at their legs and rips a leg up. Then he dies. So what? They don't get any point value for killing him. He's a medium mech in that Shadowcat. And so as a consequence, they're more worried about him. Oh, a DFA attempt and it's missed. Oh, he almost picked off. He just missed Maverick there, I think. And now Maverick spins around and says, "Thank you very much, I'll just kill you," and down goes Adam. The score is 50,000 for RDL and 33,000 for MOD. 3 minutes, 33 seconds left. And let's take it back to Exile and enjoy.
Well, just as you were talking about DFA, Wingo landed on Maverick and DFA'd him, and lagging himself as well, removing points from MOD. But as it's looking right now, MOD is too clustered together, and that Shadowcat is doing an impressive job, because he is leading his team in points, but also leading his team in deaths. 13,000 points for that little Shadowcat in a battle of assault mechs. What about the little guy, they say? Well, the little guy is showing up the big guy right now. Those land pigs for RDL, though, I believe, are what are getting all the points they need, because those machine guns, rapid-firing weapons, are getting points. And if you notice, look what the Shadowcat's doing. When he's stripped, he runs up against the other mechs, hoping to splash them when he dies, if he does not die beside one. But I do see some smoke coming from him. Actually, he's using a flamer. Not a plasma cannon, a flamer. And yes, Adler, I just confirmed it myself. One of the Highlanders is using an artillery beacon. But the lag, I think, is starting to get in this small map, because I see the flame hitting the mechs, but the mech is nowhere near where it shot the flame. there's a minute and 20 seconds left to go in the game, they're immediately starting to pick off that light mech, well, the medium mech, but he's still causing severe damage to the MOD guys. They just ripped off a torso and one of his arms, and he's still going. He would do actually a lot better if he would stop jump jetting in, because he's just rendering himself easier to hit, as you said earlier. Thank you. Adler, back to you.
Yeah, you're right. He's running flamers, not plasma cannons, but along with the RD beacons that he's running, he is just he's ripping or taking the attention away from big mechs and putting it all on him. And as a consequence, directly and indirectly, he is just having himself a hell of a game. And that seems to be very, very good strategy for the Russians. You got to tip your hat to him. And Adam's done a nice job knowing his role, accepting his role. He knows he's going to die, but he also knows he's causing trouble. And every time they turn their guns on him, means they're not turning their guns on a bigger mech, and that leaves that big mech wide open to just blow the hell out of anybody and anyone they want. So this thing is falling to the Russians.
The Russians take it in 2 maps, and the final scores for the game were: the Russian Death Legion had 66,794 points, 77 kills, and 72 deaths. I believe that includes 1 suicide. Now for MOD, 44,911 points, 71 kills, 78 deaths. But looking at this, there is barely, in between the top and the last guy, there's 7,000 points difference in between the first and the last place guy on the RDL team. But as you said, that little mech did his job good. He got the points, made the distraction, MOD fell for it. What else can you say? Now I'm going to hope to see if I can catch some of the MOD pilots so they can come into the booth and we can ask them what their view of the game was.
Okay, well then we'll do a little bit of a change of the flag here. Folks, thanks a lot for listening. This has been Brawler Action between MOD and Russian Death Legion. Exiled Angel has been your host. I'm DJ Adler, sort of his helper this time. We're going to go off the air and then right back on the air here in just a second. So until such time, we sure thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for the post-game show here on MWL Radio.